श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती वीणामभित्रयवतु। गणेशाय नमः। सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।
जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश
साई कन्हैया साई कन्हैया साई कन्हैया पार करो मेरे जीवन नैया
most loving pranams at the lotus feet of the Divine Lord, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Sairam, dear brothers and sisters. A very warm welcome to a satsang with Brother Abhimanyu Kaul. Brother Abhimanyu was a Sai student from the years of 1983 to 1990. And Brother Abhi has been very instrumental in promoting values-based education in many countries. He has lived in Canada and Americas and has been instrumental in, or has been part of, values-based education in countries like Trinidad and Tobago. And Brother is a great storyteller, and I was very fortunate to listen to him at the National Sai Conference, which was held in Murwillumbah a few weeks ago. So without further ado, I would like to call upon Brother Abhi. Please give him a big welcome. Thank you.
Offering my most loving salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Master, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, a very warm sairam to all of you. Actually, after quite a, I would say, some gap, I've heard some beautiful bhajan. Your bhajan was excellent. For a moment, I really prayed it should continue for more. You sister, sang it so beautifully at the end. You closed it at a very good high. I didn't feel like talking after that. It is beautiful. Well, at the outset, grateful to Bhagwan for these wonderful occasions and opportunities to come and relive our moments with Lord and share the glorious days. But I would like to keep it informal, so don't be serious. I don't like serious faces. So you can ask anything you feel like, but if you are serious, then I will ask you questions. Is that fair? Don't cough, you will not escape there. Only smiles can escape. Right, brother? Yes. So if you have anything in mind, please feel free. I will certainly share whatever comes to me and as he wishes. But if anybody has anything in mind that they would like to hear about it, and if I can, I would love to share that part. Okay? So you are smiling, you are safe. Let me ask you a question, since you are not asking anything. What do you think Bhagwan, the Supreme Consciousness, this beautiful God of gods, took this form? What for? Why did he take this form? Was he feeling bored somewhere there and said, let me go and tease some people down? Anybody? Yes. They're having a secret discussion here. It won't matter. I will ask both of you then. So tell me, anybody, why do you think the cosmic power, the supreme reality, took this form? Ascent where? Up floor. You can take a staircase. Why? Why should he come all the way, disturb your sleep also and his problem also? To make us realize that he and we are same. Anybody else? So uncle goes straight, hit bullseye, right? To realize you are God. Did he succeed? That means there is something missing there, right? Otherwise, we can say, Swami, you failed in your journey. Is it possible God can fail? Then something else must be the reason, right? What else can be the reason? Yes? It's a game. Life is a game played. What game it is then? Game of what? For that he sent so many junior gods. No? Why should a Supreme Master, the owner should not come? That job is of managers. For that he had that Rama, Krishna and all that. They come and show you how to conduct. Why should the owner leave his chambers and come out? This question he asked himself and he responded. People said the same thing. That Swami, to realize our divinity, that's what he said. And he said, that you will get anyways. If not in this life, in next life or some life you will get it. Because that is the destiny of every creation. Since you are separated, you have to merge back. You cannot stop it. Either you accept it lovingly, or the nature will kick you and bring you there. So hook or crook, you are going to realize that you and I are one. That's for sure. The main purpose, there were some scholars also in that group, There's Swami, yada yada dharmasya, immediately we have to show off. Whatever little we know, we have to show off, right? So immediately somebody said, Swami, yada yada dharmasya. Said, Nur musko, keep quiet. Because for that, I don't need to take form. To revive dharma or to reinstate goodness, he said, I don't need to come. That also I can do it, remote control. The main purpose of descent of God was to bless the devotees with the proximity of the avatar. This joy which a devotee finds in seeing the Lord, and the Lord finds in being with the devotee, that is not possible without this form. He can change the world. He said, I can do this, and the sky can become earth, and earth can become sky. But this joy of interaction, joy of seeing the God, joy of touching the God, experiencing Him, is not possible without coming like this. So the core purpose of the avatar was to come and give himself. Then comes our destiny and our effort, how much we could grab it. Right? So there are some crazy people. In Sai organization, you can find many crazy people, right? We are a bunch of crazy people. And you have to be a little loose to be here. Otherwise, you can't follow God. Because He is crazy. He makes you crazy, right? So that is the beauty. When you start chasing Him, you realize life unfolding in different manner. And He makes Himself very charming. The way He will stand in front of you, you'll go, right? You want Him to be there every second. How many of you, if you see my face for 1 hour, next day you'll say, I have seen him enough. But here He was, you see Him for 3 hours, and He goes into the room, and if He peeps out of window, then whole crowd is looking at that. Every glimpse we wanted to capture. They are called Akarshan Shakti, the power of attraction. So then how do we identify that this phenomena, what was He? And what was His purpose? And how did He, what kind of legacy He left behind? If you really think about those things, probably we will end up evaluating ourselves and trying to figure out how do we come close to this Master? How do we experience Him in such a way that it becomes our association? See, when you read about Ramayana, Krishna's stories, Jesus walking on this planet, and Buddha coming, they are still stories. Today people are still debating if Ram was there or not. Maybe after 100 years they'll start doubting, will Sai Baba was there or not? You know, human mind is crazy. But today we are fortunate that we have seen him. And because of him, we have got the faith reinstated that there was a time when Rama walked, Krishna walked, Buddha came, Jesus came. Because he has shown us that whatever is written in the books is alive. Right? We all can experience that, and we have seen it. We have seen the power, the majestic power of God. We have seen, when we say that God is omnipresent, we know that he knows. Right? All of you might have an experience of that. That when I say God knows, it is no longer a fancy thought in our head. Each one of you know that he knows. And he has shown it. Not one time, millions of times. When you say God is most powerful, he's omniscient, omnipotent. For us, these words are no longer words. We have ample stories to back it up. And each one of us have that story. That is the beauty of an avatar. Because when he comes, he makes the scriptures alive. So today when you think about God, it's no longer a fantasy world. Oh, God is in skies and I have to go and approach him. You know very well, I can just close my eyes and I have a personal God with me. I have a God whom I can talk, I can relate, I can be with, and I need nobody else. Isn't it beautiful? That, we feel, is the real beauty of a descent. Of course, he will make us come up to his level. That is our destiny. But the game, the journey is more fun. The destination is assured. Since you are with Swami, your destination to become him, be one with him, is assured. So don't worry about it. Enjoy the ride. As you say in Australia, I'm taking him for a ride. So enjoy the ride. Because that is the beauty of God. That every second, every step of our life becomes joyful. Well, I'm sharing with you like this today is only because, we used to always joke about it, that more dull you are, the more treatment you need. So all the people who lived close to him, they needed more work on themselves. So those who of you are far, you are better off. You didn't need so much of work. Your quality of cars were very good. We are totally accidented, dented, so we needed full denting, painting and overhauling. So we are given longer duration there. So all the people who lived close to him, you can imagine our fate. Lot of denting, painting required. That was a journey again to find out. I'm going to share with you our little bit of our college days and how we have grown out of it. But in the meantime, if you have anything in mind, please feel free to ask. My journey with Swami started from a very birth, because when my grandfather was the one who brought Bhagwan into our family, and then father got involved. And obviously when we were growing up, Bal Vikas was our playground. So that's how we all grew up. And it is, I would say more or less it is very good that there was no confusion as you're growing up. Because it's very simple to say, he's God, just worship. And we went. So there was no conflict of interest. Only thing was he was more remembered during examination time or during any such events when we needed some help. That time extra will go there, extra vibhuti will be eaten. So all that was there, but he was the first to go to person, right? And it so happened I went to Puttaparthi in 1980, I believe. I was a small boy, and there was a Bal Vikas rally, and I participated in that. And there I saw Bhagwan walking around with students. It was a wonderful time. In those days, to reach Puttaparthi itself was a beautiful journey. And I don't know how many of you have been. He just mentioned he was there. So how many of you have been to Puttaparthi in late 70s and 80s? Oh, good. So you know that to reach Puttaparthi, you had to use all the possible mode of transportation, starting from bus, train, bullock cart. Sometimes you had to swim across the Chitravati also. There were many times when people had to swim to come to Puttaparthi. So everything was, to reach Puttaparthi was a journey in itself. From Dharmavaram to Anantapur to Puttaparthi used to take 1 day sometimes to wait for buses. Those days, but Bhagwan was very, very close. Anybody goes there, you can be assured at least he will look at you and he could talk to you. There was also a time when if you needed interview, you could just walk up and sit in front of his room and he would come out and call you inside. Wasn't that beautiful? Can you imagine the accessibility in those days? Just go and sit down and he'll come and talk to you. Puttaparthi had a lot of trees in those days, all around. And people would carry, the kerosene stoves with them. Every family will take a tree and put their mat and box there and cook there and sleep there and come for darshan. And many times Swami himself would come out, take a walk around the trees and inquire if everything is okay. So those were beautiful days when we grew up. And that time I had the desire that I want to be close to him. And it's so beautiful that with God, if you aspire for God, everything else comes to you naturally. But if you aspire for the world, you will never get the world nor God. And Swami explains this truth in a very beautiful manner. He said, have you seen that Vishnu's, Narayan's photograph in the ocean? He's sitting in the snake, lying down on the serpent. And then, where is Mother Lakshmi in that picture? At the feet of, come on, don't tell me you've not seen the picture also. Okay, because I'm seeing faces from our side, so I hope that most of you should know these answers. Smile then more, then I will not ask you. So, the Lakshmi, the mother goddess of wealth, is sitting at the feet of the master. Bhagwan said, learn from this picture. If you want wealth, prosperity, where is she? At the feet of the master. Lakshmi is feminine, and the quality of femininity is they are chanchal. Chanchal means they are fickle. They can escape. It's like air. You can't hold femininity. Try holding them. You'll get burnt. So this is like the nature of feminine is they are moving. They are always up and action. Men folk are comfortable. Give us one chips packet, remote control, nice sofa and a TV. We can spend the whole day. But it's like that. So he said, look at them. That Lakshmi is chanchala. She's moving. So if you try to catch air, it'll escape. You'll never be able to catch. But if you have the master with you, she will automatically come and sit at your feet. So if you want the wealth, aspire for the master. That is the secret you should learn from that picture. So if you want prosperity, look for God. But if you chase the world, you may get nothing. Isn't it beautiful analogy which he teaches you right there? That how do we approach life? And we were actually by default trained in this manner. That in Parthi, we learnt everything. Boys jumped into drama, dance, band, gymnastics, everything, not for the sake of becoming a gymnast or a singer or a musician, but because of those things, you would get close to God. I learned Vedas, not because I wanted to be a scholar, but because I could sit next to Swami, walk in front of him. He used to give dhotis and angavastram and all that, So it was fun. Why not grab it? So anything which he will introduce, everybody will join. Because we knew that if you join that, you will get a chance to be with God. Isn't it simple? So everything became, by default, an offering to God. Nobody cared to play a football, but because of him coming and watching, football became an offering. So we used to go, it was a fight, how to invite Swami. So we used to do a lot of mischief also. Can you believe doing mischief with God? We have done many of such. I'll share few with you here. Now the time has gone, so even if our professors hear it today, they won't mind it. Because it's an old timer. See, there was time when, still in Parthi, discipline is always very high. Whatever you do, you have to do it within discipline. But boys are boys everywhere. Same. Unless and until we break the rules, there's no fun in it. Correct? So that, the chase keeps on going, even in Parthi. But the good part is that when you play with Swami, first mistake is always forgiven. I'm giving you secrets, even though it's late, but you can play with your parents now. First mistake is forgiven. And then new mistake is surely forgiven. Hey, he did it first time. Poor fellow. But if you repeat the mistake, you are crucified. Okay? So what do you learn from this example? Never repeat a mistake. And second learning lesson? Find new mistakes. You have to be creative in finding new mistakes. And there we were genius. We had to find new mistakes every day. Because if you do new mistakes, he will come and talk to you. He will scold you. And that is a blessing. But if you repeat the mistake, done. Then he won't scold. He will tell warden to scold you. That is worst. As long as he is scolding, we are happy. But when he starts sending the vice chancellor and registrar to scold you, then it's not fun. Then it is really bad. So that happens when you repeat the mistake. Now I'll give you an example. Like there is unsaid, these are all discipline factors. You have to attend the whole college. You have to come on time. You cannot take a break and say, okay, I have class in the third period, so I will go only for third period. No. Our life is that even if you have no class, you have to go to college in the morning, attend the assembly every day, and then if you have class, go. If you don't have, go to library or a lab. But you can't go back to hostel and say, I'm taking a nap. Not possible. Okay? So this is the kind of rule we are living in. So Bhagwan used to test us. He will come on a drive many times. One day, two boys, Parthi can be very hot in summers. And there was no air conditioned like here. There's nothing air conditioned in Parthi. Everything is beautifully open. If you're sweating, that's another bath for you. And we had only one place which had air condition. That was our chemistry lab. That had air condition. So many boys took chemistry because of that also. Okay, go and relax there. Some experiment we have to do there to relax. There were two boys who were one day doing some experiments or something there, and they lost track of time. So by the time he realized, oh my God, the lines had already gone to Mandir, and darshan was almost going on, so they said, now no point running. We'll go for bhajan now. There's only safe time to enter Mandir. Swami must be in the interview, we can go. So this boy went to hostel, took a little wash, had his tea, and he started walking to the Mandir. Now, on the way, he was literally in the front of college, on the road, no escape routes. And he saw Swami's car coming. Now, you can't even run. You are trapped. And that is a blunder. Because you have been caught red-handed, right? You're on the street. So he was, of course, a senior boy, and he had already gone through a lot of experience with Swami. He kept his composure. He stood very gracefully there. And Swami's car came. Swami was apparently very serious now. indiscipline. Why are you here? He said, no, Swami, this is second line. First line has gone, this is second line from hostel. He said, Dunnapada, I will see your second line. But the way he said it was so sweet that Swami smiled. So the whole seriousness went off. But Swami then went to Warden and said, do you know boys have started creating second lines? You have no idea. You think only one line comes from hostel? They have made second line. So those boys got scolding from Warden afterwards, but they escaped the big punishment. So there was another boy like that, and it's very sweet. You know, Swami was not talking to him for a long time. So it so happened that, now how do we attract his attention? I'm sharing with you something naughty here. So what he did one day, I don't know that he fell down or what, he was sitting in the front and he had a big plaster on his face, you know, covering his whole face. On the nose, and the tape was here, full big one, and he sat in front like him. Swami came out of his room and said, hey Mira, what happened? And he sat like this. Swami said, hey, what happened? He's smiling and Swami is worried. What happened to you? Somebody hit you, you fell down? He said, nothing, Swami. He said, then what is this plaster? He removed the plaster. He said, Swami, I'm good. Why did you put? Because you were not looking at me. Then everybody laughed at that time, but look at that. And Swami said, hey, don't do it again. See, don't do it again. You put a plaster and sit in the mandir. Obviously, you have to look at the face. What happened to you? So he said, at least Swami saw me. That's important. There was another boy, and this is another funny thing. You know, there is a discourse of Swami. He tells you about why you should clap. Have you heard it? Why should you clap? Come on, man. Who is a Balvika's teacher here? I need to take, you are the Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. I have to take classes here now. Why, what is Swami's explanation on why should you clap for bhajan? You play very beautiful. I'm sure you sing also. Tell me. Are you using logic or you remember Swami telling? Balvika's, oh, you're getting credit to her. Good. So you can feel happy about it. Well, Swami explained in a very beautiful manner. He said, have you seen a tree where many birds are sitting? So if you go and clap, what happens to the birds? They fly away. So similarly, during bhajans, when you clap, all your bad thoughts or any kind of destructive thoughts would fly away like birds. So you must clap and clap in rhythm and sing loudly. So scream. All of you sing in your heart, which is very nice. But we have to hear. Imagine a person laughing. No sound coming out. So you have to sing loudly. That is very important. So open your heart and sing and clap. So Swami said this in a discourse. And as you can understand, the student's age is a very beautiful age, where everything gets interpreted according to our convenience. Right? We don't want to understand the way he wants to understand, but we interpret in our set. So one boy took this message very seriously about Bhagwan. So he was sitting in the bhajan hall, and you have all been to bhajan hall? Anybody who has not been to bhajan hall? Oh, beautiful. I'm talking to a wonderful gathering here. Okay. So imagine Swami on the chair, and you know the students, boys' side can sit literally up to the dais, the chair platform. And on the path, our pujari sits, and the And the bhajan boys would also sit along with them. So he was sitting kind of in the front, right behind Pujari, on the path side. And Bhagwan came and sat down, and the bhajans were going on. Just in the second bhajan started, this boy remembered this great message of Bhagwan that he should clap. So when the bhajan started, imagine that beautiful sister singing that bhajan, and imagine somebody clapping so hard that it distracts you also. So imagine Ganesha Sharanam, and he goes, takak, takak, big loud. So everybody had to turn and see what happened here. What happened here? Somebody woke up. So he started clapping loudly. And when he clapped loudly, Swami was about to, in the mystic mood, suddenly he goes, who's that? Somebody made a noise here. And when he saw Swami looking at him, he closed his eyes. And that is the best thing you can do. Because if you keep your eyes open, he can say, hey, and you're done. And here he closed his eyes and started clapping louder. Because he was sure that Swami is looking at him. And that is a blessing. Imagine Swami looking at you. And he kept his eyes closed and kept clapping loudly. The whole bhajan went like that. Everybody is distracted now. And Swami is looking at him like this. And he has a very mischievous smile on his face. But he's not saying anything. And that encouraged that boy more to clap. So everybody is having fun. People are watching. The singer, poor fellow, is distracted. But he can't help it. Because this is a drama going on. So bhajan got over. Everybody. And that time you meditate more. That is another secret of Puttaparthi. When you do a mischief in Parthi, in Mandir, to escape punishment, go into meditation. So if you see Parthi boys meditating, the secret is something else. They are not reaching anywhere. They are just avoiding problems. So we are trained like that. Immediately, So I'll give you another beautiful mischievousness. I'll finish this story. But in the middle, I keep remembering these naughty things. Suppose he's sitting like that, this space in the middle. Oh my God, two can sit there. So when you sit closer, you have a small little gap there. So we used to go and put our 1 feet inside. Then we shake like that. There's a little gap. Then we'll just go and squeeze ourselves inside and then expand it. So suddenly 2 will become 3. Then 3 will become 4. So we had that notorious reputation of these guys are coming. That means we'll just mess up the whole sequence now. Because if you are late, behind, then we have to find place, right? So boys will just stretch their legs and sit properly. Because if they knew that small gap also, we will expand. So we had a philosophy that when we come, Portico expands. So you will always find us in the front 3 rows. More than 3 rows means we have failed. And Swami has to accommodate the whole class in the first 3 rows only. So that's how we were, grown up in that attitude. So this clapping boy continued distraction. So third bhajan started. As soon as the bhajan's one line went, he again started clapping loudly. And it was a distraction now. Because Swami was not able to concentrate. You know Swami's style. Immediately after one line, if he enjoys the bhajan, either he'll give a rhythm or he'll close his eyes and he'll swing. But now, as soon as you close eyes, he'll have patak, 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 patak. And he will again look what happened here. Now he started looking like this to him. And this boy did not open his eye and continued clapping loudly. When the third bhajan was closing, Swami got up and went out. And other boys jumped on him. Hey, relax now. Because in front of Swami, nobody could tell. As soon as Swami went out, everybody told him, cool down, man, you're loud. But outside, something more interesting happened. Swami goes out on the upper portico, outside portico. He calls the warden. Warden, he came. Says, go and tell that fellow, I asked him to blow his birds, not everybody's birds. See that beautiful humor, eh? I asked him to blow his birds, not everybody's. So the warden called and oh my God, it was a fun again. I'm reminded of one more mischief of mine. Okay, just a family, so I'll tell you. You know, I have this part is slightly loose, but see, I can shake my head. You see that? So I can shake my skull, the full. Now you call it a special attribute or whatever. I have this. When I was noticing this mischief going on, I thought I should use this. So one day I was sitting right in front in bhajan, and Swami has a habit when he comes to sit, he will scan the hall. He will look at everybody. So I knew that his eyes are going to fall at me. So the moment I saw his eyes coming towards me, I closed my eyes and started shaking my head. So he was like, what happened? What is that? So again I closed my eyes and I opened my eyes again and Swami looked this side. Then after 2 minutes, again Swami looked at it, what is happening to his head? And I again shook. So I did a couple of times, he got worried. He went out immediately, called the warden, hey, something is wrong with him. He said, go and talk to him, something is wrong. So warden called me and he said, what is happening to your head? I said, nothing. I'm fine. He said, but Swami was sounding very concerned and worried for you. Your head is sometimes moving or something. So I started laughing. Then he said, don't do that, boy. That is creating concern here. I said, okay. So only one time we could do that, you know. That's why I said you have to keep finding new mistakes and new mischiefs. So imagine any such excuses to be with the Lord. Any such pranks to get his attention. Idea was only thought of Bhagwan. And because of that, you won't believe, 24/7, our priority was Swami. Even when we were in the class, we used to think, what should we do tonight? When we go for darshan, what can we do? What mischief can we do today? How can we attract his attention? When we finish darshan, we'll be always thinking about him. Is it not meditation? Is it not for what rishis and all the sages have been meditating for hundreds of years? To get that focal point? Is it not what Swami was expecting us? That tomorrow when you go and lead your lives, your focus should remain God? Even if you are working, you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're driving, you're going to work, but let God be your thought process. See, we have learned this by default. With no extra effort from our side, we learned it. You get up in the morning and your thought is God. Whole day you spend doing different things, but your focus is that I'm going to go and see my master. I'm going to go and do certain things with my master. Whole day, everything we did, our focus was God. Isn't that what is expected of us? Isn't that what you teach your Balvikas children and yourself? That whatever you do, engage God in your life? He taught us by these pranks. Just by being simple, just by involving, engaging us, we learn these beautiful lessons. From nothing, he gave us this elevation. He used to tell us that, there are millions of people on this planet today. Out of them, handful of people think of God. Those handful of million people who think of God, there are still handful of people who really take God a little bit seriously in their life. Out of that also there are a bunch of people who follow the path of God. And in that, there are few people who have the privilege to know God. And in that, there are still few people who have the privilege to interact with God directly. Can you imagine the grace, the importance He has given to each one of us to be His? In fact, he was a very hard teacher also. He would tell, when you get an admission in the schools of Swami, you don't become a Sai student. You become the student of the Sai institutions. But you conveniently call yourself Sai students. To become a Sai student is a journey. By becoming a student of the Sai institutions is an easy route, a convenient pass given to you. But from there to become a Sai student is a journey. Similarly, for each one of us, joining the organization, there is no rule. Right? This organization has got no registration form. Nobody is standing outside and asking, do you follow us? There's no registration, no entry fees. Free for all. You can walk in, walk out. No questions asked. So we don't qualify to be His devotee just because you come for a bhajan. Just because you sit here, we don't qualify to be His devotees. And that He clearly said, that is my prerogative if I want to make you a devotee or not. So only He can stamp us and say, He's my devotee. Till then, we could be at best the followers of Sai. But He still has leniently given us this designation of a Sai youth, Sai student, Sai devotee, a member of the Sai organization. So at best, we are His followers, not His devotees. Because for Him, devotee has a different connotation. Anybody has an idea how He defines that? Who is His devotee? Any guesses? Oh my God, that is Sthita Pragya. She is reading Gita too much. In simple language, He says, one who represents me is my devotee. In thought, word and deed. His expectations are very high. You know, we always say that whenever you do an activity, think if Swami will like it or not. He said that is a kindergarten step. You start like that, okay, should I do it? Will Swami approve of it? Right? That's how we teach each other to qualify. He said that is basics. You know what He expects us to go? He says, think, if this Swami has to do, how will He do it? If I have to do something, how will Swami do this? How will Swami cook? How will Swami drive? How will Swami talk? How will Swami tackle the situation? And once you get engaged in that, then probably we qualify ourselves to be called as His. Is it easy, right? It's a beautiful. It is a life-changing experience, if you ask me frankly. But that's how, that serious side is that, but the best part is, He taught us all of this in a very playful manner. Just by being with us like an ordinary person. We never realize that we are walking and talking to this supreme consciousness, to this supreme Godhead. Isn't that beautiful? You want to hear more stories of those naughtiness? You like the naughty part of it, eh? See, there were times of sports day. Let me tell you some stories from that side. Sports day is another beautiful event because that would give students a lot of opportunity to be with Bhagwan. And that's the days boys and students liked it most because in those months, there were no classes. The subjects was given a back seat. So everybody was very happy to be on grounds and playing around. And Bhagwan coming. Can you imagine Swami coming and watching all the games? And then he would join in with you. I recall in 80, I think it was 84, the first sports day happened, and that happened in school. If you recall, there was no stadium in those days. The Ishwarama High School at the backside had a stage. That stage was basically a raised platform, and there was nothing else. And in 84, they had leveled it in 2 layers. If you recall, the stadium behind was in 2 levels. So at the lower level, school boys would play. On the higher level, we used to clean up and college boys would come and play. So we were in our 12th grade, and we thought that Bhagwan has never come to our school and any function. Let's go and invite him. So we told our principal, sir, that, sir, we would like to have a sports and invite Swami. So principal said, yeah, he's God. This is his school. He can come anytime. Now that's how devotees talk. Swami is God. He knows everything. It says, that language does not go into our system. So we thought, this man will not allow. Let's go directly to Swami. So we went in the evening and sat in the front. Swami came. We got up. Swami, please come. He said, where? He said, Swami, come to school. We have sports for you. He said, very good idea. When should I come? So he immediately kind of approved. And he called the principal. Principal, boys have invited me. Now he's looking at us and we're looking down. Because he had told us, don't do that, and we did it. So we are looking down, and Swami said, Principal, I like it, I'll come. And he gave the date and all that, and he went off. The principal looking at us, what is wrong with you guys? You invited Swami without even telling the authorities. And we thought that we are going to play and he'll come and watch our play, right? Life is so simple for us. But we didn't realize the poor fellow had to do so much of work after that. You know, he had to repaint the school and he had to clean up the labs and get some procession ready and all that. We thought, Swami's coming, just sing some song and play some games and that's it, done. So anyways, we started working on it. It was the first time he's coming for a music program and for sports. Let me start with the sports and then I'll tell you about the music program. So we prepared. It was in the evening, and you know, the stage is facing the mountains where your Hanuman is today. That Hanuman is western side. So the sun is setting there. So in the evening, we realized that the sun will be right in front of Swami's face when Swami is on the stage. So then we had to decorate and make it, we had to calculate how much of curtain we need and all that. And in Puttaparthi in those days, nothing was available. It was a pure village. There was nothing there. So we had to calculate and go to Anantapur or Bangalore to procure stuff. So after all, cutting the story short, we made the stage beautiful. We got the cloth. We done it. In fact, when we looked up, it was dirty because we had got at that tarpaul, you know, trampoline kind of a thing. It was black color. It was not clean like what you have here and all that, right? So we thought, how do we make it clean? So we thought, okay, get all the dhotis. All these South Indians wear dhotis, right? Our warden had good dhotis. We all had dhotis. So I said, we announced, all the boys and staff who has white dhotis, give it. So for 2 days, no dhoti you will wear. So write your name and give it to us. So all the dhotis were collected. And we put some 2 classes there to stitch them. You know, stitch it together. And we made a big curtain of that. You know, the big cloth. And that was raised. And that became the roof of Swami's stage. So dhotis were roof. Bed sheets were the curtains. Okay. And artificial flowers were hanging here and there. That's how our first school sports meet stage was decorated. And Bhagwan said, who's coming to see? He said, we don't know. We want you to come. He invited the college, the primary school children. So our audience was from the college and primary school. They came to see. So we were giving them the seat to sit. They were all on the ground. There were no chairs and all that in those days. So when we were doing that, then we realized that when we have an event there, how will you say, you know, where will you stand and give command? We had no stage for ourselves to stand. So, we got that first, second, and third, the steps. We covered it up, and that became our platform to stand. Then we took pledge in Sanskrit. Veda manucha charyo ante vasena manushasti satyam vada. You know that? Anybody knows here? Dharmam chara swadhyayan ma pramadaha. So that is a whole stanza which tells you the pledge that God, I will follow you and all that in Sanskrit. So we prepared that pledge. And on that day, Bhagwan came. Beautiful. He was very simple. He came in his car. We received him with Veda chanting. He went and sat up. Now, two things happened very good. One I'll tell you. One was Prashadam. And another one I'll share with you. We were concerned that when the sun starts setting and Swami is on the stage, the sunlight should not fall at his eyes. That's why we had bought that curtain and all that cloth and made a curtain out of it in the front. So we were all praying, Swami, see that manage. Because we studied for 1 week, the sun, the arches, all the physics boys were busy on that, calculating the angles and all that, how much of curtain you need. So all the drama we did, because if you keep the chair in the front, then you need bigger curtain. If you push it back, then he can't see what is happening underneath, because the activities were happening right next to the stage. So we had a big challenge where to put his chair. Then ultimately, somehow in the center, it got fit, but we are crossing our fingers that, hey, sunlight should not fall at him. That day when he sat on his chair, it was a red color revolving chair. I'm sure you must have seen his pictures on that. It was a small little red chair which you sit. We put his chair there, and few of us who were organizing, we were right next to the stage watching that. The sun started setting, and the sun rays started coming up, climbing up. And the moment the sun rays touched his cushion, the footrest, it stopped there. From there, the sunlight never came up. He sat almost 15-20 minutes more, but sun did not come up. It just stopped at his feet. It was a beautiful thing which nobody else could understand except us who were involved in that. And we were enjoying it, because when the sun was coming so fast, we were like, oh God, now it's going to go up. But the moment it touched the stool, it just stopped. So that was a very beautiful exposure at that age, that you do your effort, he will take care of the rest. Effort is our job. Result is not in our hand, so don't bother about it. Intent should be clean, pure. Jump into it. Don't worry about the outcome. Whatever may be the outcome, that outcome will be right. Even if it does not turn out right for you, it will be right. And you will see that it will be perfect. And we have learned this in a small manner. Let me ask you a question. Make a guess. What kind of events we must have played for that sports day? Any guesses? First sports day of the school. We are all excited. Do you know what all events we had? Make a guess. Kabaddi. Oh God. Kabaddi is too much to do it, and that time it was like an event based. So make an event guess. Cricket. We couldn't play games for that half an hour. It's a half an hour program. We are just introducing the kind of a concept of sports event, like inauguration. Huh? You can't make out. I will tell you. You can't guess. Pulling the rope. No, that happened afterwards. You cannot make out. I'll tell you. Because we are genius. We had lemon and spoon race. We had three-legged race. We had fat boys race. So you can imagine all these crazy items. Because the purpose was not to run and defeat somebody. Purpose was to have fun with God. He can laugh, we can laugh. So imagine fat boys running, lemon and spoon, three-legged race. I think sack race also was thrown in. You can imagine that. I think only decent item was 100-meter sprint. That was the only decent thing which you would have inserted in it. But Swami enjoyed it. He laughed for half an hour. We had a lot of fun. And when he finished, he came down. He gave blessing to everybody. We had namaskar. He was so happy. Then he sat in the car. He rolled the window down. As soon as the car started, he said, "Boys, I have a surprise for you. Run." And few of us ran behind his car. And when he left from Ishwarama side to the high secondary school, and his car turns, he said, "Go in." From the car, he indicated, "Go inside. Don't follow him now. Go to the school." We went there. Can you imagine what was the prasadam? Make a guess. Ice creams. Who can imagine? Sports day and your gift is ice creams. So everybody in the audience got ice cream as prasadam. That's how we celebrated our first school sports day. We had music program. We called him next music program. So principal was really worried because poor fellow, really, I told you, he had to paint the whole school. Then each department had to create exhibitions. Because he said, "You are crazy. Swami is coming first time. He has to see every department." So they had to redo the departments. And we, the lordships who invited Swami, we were the special lot. And we were considered to be music group. Now don't test my music skills. I am another genius in music. Okay, I used to write poetry. And that gave me the entry to the music group. So, but since I was the first person to sit and we were part of the group, so I was supposed to be in the group too. So we used to sit. And I have written some songs and we all sang. When Swami came, he finished the whole round in 10 minutes. Can you imagine the whole school worked for 1 week crazy? Cleaning the school, creating exhibitions and all that. And he went around and very good, and said, music program start karo. Start the music. And we sang. The songs were very beautiful. Now, don't ask me the standard at that time. But it was still beautiful. And because I had to sit there, I played that Melanchus. You know that? Chan, chan, chan. Whole time, Bhagwan ji was sitting in the chair, he said, "Noora, chin, 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 chin." He said, "Tighten your screw now. Chan, 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 chan." So it became a fun for us. So we had that as a first sports day. You know what we gave it to Swami? Was coconut. The first coconut in our school garden was offered to him, and he take one sip from there. There was beautiful moments with the Lord. He made it so easy. And then next year, I think in 85, we had the first sports day in Anantapur. Actually, our sisters were the first to do the event. And they did it fantastic, very nice. And they were the first official, if you call it a college sports day, was done by our sisters. Swami went and saw there. He, in fact, took some few boys with him. Now, you know the discipline of Bhagwan, right? Boys did not, in those days, forget about looking this side. If the girls sat there, our heads were like this, And by mistake, if there was a mirror, then you're done. So, in that territory, Bhagwan takes some few boys with him to Anantapur. And those boys, if you see the video, I have the videos also, maybe I can show you if God permits next time. The boys are sitting around Swami's chair, and these sisters are doing performances. They are doing march past and drills and all that, and these boys are sitting like that, head down. The whole time the heads were down or looking at Swami. After the event got over, Swami called them and said, "How was this?" And the boys they had no idea what's happening there. Because if they, by mistake, they were looking at girls and Swami saw them, finished. So those days were very different with Swami. But it was beautiful to watch everybody sitting like that the whole time. Imagine, I think 2 hours or something like that, the program, and boys are sitting like that the whole time. And then Swami asked him, "How was it?" Now they can't even say good. So it was a very funny situation. And then when he came, Then he said, boys, we should do sports day. For many years, the girls, sisters would have sports day separately in Anantapur, and the boys would have it separately in Prashanti. And after, I would say, at least 5-7 years, one day he announced, the whole campus will do it together. Oh, you can imagine the buzz in the hostel. My God, do the girls play? Do they know how to play? Because, when you see those sisters, they are all in saris and very nicely sitting. You don't expect, what do you expect from them? How to roll chapatis or, you don't know. But suddenly when they came out, wow, that day was phenomenal. I loved it. Because Swami really gave us a chance to see that my daughters are nothing small, because they were on horse riding, they were doing cycling. I think they did roller skates. Unicycling? Oh, sister, you are from Anantapur? Brilliant. Oh, wonderful. So same time, I'm talking to you the same era. They had roller skates. We did it in the basketball court. They did roller skate dancing. Can you imagine in 84 doing that? And you all... You were also on roller skates? Great! Give her a big hand. In fact, we should have sessions with her. You must hear her stories. Because that lot was very privileged. After that, girls did not get that much of exposure. But these sisters have had wonderful time with Swami. I'll tell you another secret of that story of yours. Because this one, I'm sure I would like you to come up and tell us about that sports day. It'll be fantastic. Because that day was phenomenal. We loved it. Because we saw our sisters do so much we never expected. Swami used to keep them preserved, like a gold, diamonds. Nobody could even, he used to even joke one day, he said, not even a male fly can enter Anantapur. Forget about boys. Even a male fly can't enter that place. So imagine his possessiveness towards the girls was, oh my God. But he would tease us that my daughters are very good, you guys are useless. Just because I am having a pledge that I have to maintain myself, I don't talk to them. Otherwise, I'll never come close to you all. But then he'll go to Anantapur girls and tell them, you guys are not good. Look at my boys, they're very good. So that drama he'll continue. He'll keep that on. Maybe we should hear. You should catch her. Don't leave her free. How many of you heard her stories? Have you heard her stories? I'm happy. Squeeze more. So much will come out. They are wonderful days with Swami. I'll tell you, and I'm reminded, I'll tell you one more thing about them. One year, the boys, I told this story in Adelaide, but it's worth repeating. One year, boys thought of doing Dandiya Dance. Do you know Dandiya Dance? It's a dance with sticks. What Krishna's Raslila usually is depicted on the same dance. So it's a very rigorous and energetic dance, and you do it with, it's a dance and place, beautiful dance. But boys thought of doing it in a very grand scale. So almost like, I would say 300 plus boys signed up for it. So it was supposed to be done in the stadium with full drama, with the lovely music going on and all that. In those years, Bhagwan would travel to each campus and approve programs. So he will go to Anantapur, they will show him all the programs which they are going to do in Parthi for the day, and he can cancel and approve. And whatever he approves will come. So he had gone to Whitefield, he saw the boys' program there, then he had gone to Anantapur, he saw our sisters, then he came to Parthi. When he came to Parthi, the boys showed him all the programs and this dance. After watching this whole humongous dandiya, Bhagwan said, cancel. He cancelled it. Now imagine 300 plus boys, all disappointed. They had put in so much of effort. They're like, why Swami cancelled it? And then immediately we had to transfer the boys to different activities. Because our code is every student in the campus has to participate in something or other. You can't say, I'm fat, I won't run. You have to run. Whether you roll, you have to be. So somewhere you have to go. So those boys were very dejected that we didn't get a chance to dance. And nobody dared to question Swami, and we are all quiet. But then I caught the secret, and I'll share with you, and she will remember that. That day when the sports day happened, what did girls come up with? No. Our sisters were different. They look very nice in sari. They're very tough. They came with lathi dance. They were doing judo with stick martial arts, hitting each other. They were breaking tiles. Can you imagine? Girls breaking tiles and boys doing tan tan tan. Now, can you imagine that scene? That 1 hour, you have all the lathi charge, thak, 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 and the boy, dun, 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 dun. So we should be grateful that Swami cancelled our dance. It was so embarrassing. And the worst part is that the boys wanted to do judo and martial arts on that year. We had even planned that too. But see, the master is very clever, He had seen the girls perform there already. He didn't tell us that they are doing it. He goes to the boys and says, rowdies, only like violence. You want to fight. He said, Swami, we are doing martial arts. He said, no, violence. So he, in the name of violence, he cancelled that program also. And suddenly we see these girls coming, hoo, ha, and breaking tiles. By the way, the tiles which they broke, our 8th standard children broke it afterwards. But it was so beautifully done by them that they won all the accolades. They were all happy. Look, and Swami has teased us after that for almost 1 week. He would come to the mandir and say, look at my daughters. They're breaking tiles. See how strong they are? You boys, you break idli. Your idlis are hard, you break idli. So every day we had to hear this story that Swami, the girls broke tiles and we are breaking idlis. So because you are useless. Like that he will tease. Now we could not tell him that Swami, you only cancelled and all that, but he was very happy. He praised them so much that look, my daughters, they did fantastic. You boys, break idli. So next year, because of that, we had to work double. Because now you can't break 2 tiles. Because it's the girl's job. What? 2, 3 tiles, your useless girls have broken it. So the boys had to break like a pile of tiles, like 10 tiles. And then that was also not enough for Swami. So ultimately, boys did amazing. We had a pile of 10 or tiles, and they put a fire on it. So ultimately, if you look at the videos, we had a burning tiles, and the boys broke it. We had one event in which coconut was to be broken. Coconut is the most hard thing to break. So it was like you shave the coconut and then you practice. So boys had to literally, they'll put our hands in the sand. I used to be a gymnast. Don't look at my body today, okay? Still I'm fine. I had good muscles, biceps and triceps and all that. Later on it became family pack, but before I too had some packs here, but those were the good days. So we had boys practice, and there were 2 boys, I believe, they practiced baking coconut. So our hands are very tough. It become cut. Unfortunately, because of the fear also, that we should not fail in front of Bhagwan and audience. So the boy kept practicing too much, and his hand got cut just a day before. So they had announced it to Swami that there will be a coconut breaking. So this boy said, I will not cancel it. I'll break it in the left hand. Because both hands were ready, but he was practicing with right, and he got a cut. So he said, if I can't break it with right tomorrow, I'll break it with left, but I will break it. And the event went like this. The coconut is shaven. It's very beautiful, fresh coconut. And it was supposed to be kept on a table. And then the boys will go and stand behind the table, and one person will come, take the coconut in a tray, and take it up on the stage, where Swami and the guests are sitting. And then the coconut will be given to Bhagwan, and all the guests can inspect that the coconut is fresh and not crack and all that. And then the coconut will be brought in and kept. Till then, the boys who are breaking will be not touching it. And then once everything is left, then they will come forward and break. That is a kind of drama which was supposed to have happened. It so happened that, we try to find the best way to break and all that. So some villagers came to our practice area, and a villager gave a tip to us. He said, if you hit slightly off, the coconut will bounce. So you have to stop the bounce of the coconut. If you're hitting it, it can bounce and then becomes difficult. So he suggested, get little salt. And if you put the salt underneath, then the coconut will not bounce. So that was a safe thing to do, and it was not anything wrong, right? We are not doing any manipulations there. So the boys took the salt and put it in the pocket. Now the only thing he has to do was, they are standing like this, right? Or like this. Now as soon as they announce, he has to quietly put his hand inside, take out the salt, open it and keep it ready. So when he goes to fix the coconut, he can just insert the salt there and put the coconut. So that is a sequence of event which they had planned it out. How I'll sneak the salt inside without the audience being noticing, But the joke is that we have cameraman. It was a pure paparazzi stuff, right? Everybody's long zoom focused on him. Every bit was being captured. So you have to be careful. If you miss it, then you can't put a salt there. So all thing was practiced, how I'll remove the salt and all that. So all the drama was done. And the announcement happened, next event, coconut breaking. Boys, line up. As we are stepping out, a boy came running and he said, hey, Swami has sent chocolates. So a tray of chocolates came in front. Now, the food is the worst thing which boys cannot restrain. Anytime anything comes and Swami has sent, so we grab. So we ate few and few in the pocket. So it went, so one side is salt, one side is chocolate. So and we went, and now we are standing. The boy with the tray came, put the coconut, went up, inspection happened, organized. Now this boy who's going to break it, whose hand is cut, he puts his hand inside. And there he finds chocolate. Salt is not there. Now he realized, oh God, salt is on this pocket. Now he can't remove his hand and put the next hand. Camera is already on him. So now he's stuck. Now he can't even remove that. Now he's looking at chocolate. Now he can't even drop the chocolate because the camera will catch. So somehow he left the chocolate behind. It is gone. And now he goes there. And you won't believe it. With his left hand, he smashed that coconut. And the coconut went into pieces. That picture is still hanging in the hostel. The coconut is flying. The water is flying everywhere. He just smashed it. His hand also got bruised. Swami jumped off his chair, literally in happiness. Oh my God, like that. It was so. So that's how boys were. We got crazier and crazier every time. And Swami will be sitting on his edge like this and looking at what are you doing? So that was a sports day. Every element was how to bring Bhagwan close to you. How many accidents have happened? But Swami used to take care. That was the best part of Bhagwan. So many boys got hurt and he cared. In fact, I told that story there, but I can repeat it. 2 stories I'll tell you. It's a very interesting stories. One of the boys, we had an event. It's basically borrowed from army. Indian Army have this exercise. Imagine 2 poles, almost 60 feet tall. 60 or I think at least 40 feet to hai bolo. And in both the poles, you tie ropes in cross section, crisscross. So you get a kind of a ladder. So exercise is you have to climb from one side and do some stunt on top and then get down from other side, if you can. But trust me, if you have not experienced that, when you climb even halfway up, that 2 beams start shaking with the wind. And on top, if you're not used to it, it shakes so bad that if you slip, you will fall. And imagine falling so far. It can be dangerous. But we have mats, no doubt. There was a full matting underneath. So Bhagwan came to see the event. When he saw that event, in the rehearsal, he cancelled it. He told warden, cancel it. Too risky, cancel. The boy who was going up at that time, he took it very personally that, hey, maybe I have not done it properly or something, and Swami cancelled it. So he pestered the warden and teachers that please give me another chance to show Swami, and I'm sure he will approve it. Maybe I was not ready, whatever reasons. But the warden said, no, Bhagwan has very categorically said, cancel. And the mats were removed, and that event was. But this boy did not agree. So when next day, when everybody had gone to darshan and were coming back, this fellow sneaked into gym room, where pole was erected inside the hall, and down you have, the cemented floor. So he kept his friend at the door, said, watch, if somebody comes, inform me, I'll get down quickly. But he wanted to practice. And this fellow went up. Unfortunately, he slipped from there. And you can imagine if you fall from 30 feet on a concrete floor. He fell on his neck. He had multiple fractures, multiple spinal injury. He was immediately rushed to the hospital, and in 80s, there were no super specialty. It was only general hospital. And general hospital was not so equipped. But they took him inside, and immediately a word was sent to Bhagwan. Everything in those days were informed to Swami. So they went to Swami, and this boy, they could only do this. They had put him on the bed, they plastered him from here down. He was completely in the plaster, in pain. Now he had to be shifted to Bangalore. But doctors were just waiting for Swami. So whatever they could do in Puttaparthi, they did it. They put him on a plaster, and Swami came. At night he came to see this child. And as soon as he walked into the room, Bhagwan was very upset. He said, I told you not to do it. And angry, eyes red, he's walking towards the boy and telling him, I told you, Cheptana, I told you, you don't listen to Swami. And that boy is like lying down and crying. He has got no clue what to do now. He can't even fold his hand, nothing. Swami came close to his bed, and he was shaking his hand. And he came and he started pouring vibhuti on him. From his hand, he poured so much of vibhuti on the child that he was immersed in the vibhuti. Full body vibhuti. Then Salim took him, and they took him to Whitefield. Can you imagine, in 6 months' time, the boy recovered fully. Full recovery. He was healthy, he was a singer, he was a weightlifter. The fellow was very tough. And now he's married, he has children. I think his children are ready to get married now. So that was one. Another which Sister Lauren actually reminded us of the story. It so happened in the similar event, I don't know what that boy was doing. He fell and he was rushed to hospital. When he reached hospital, doctors declared him dead on arrival. The child gone. So they were scared now how to tell Bhagwan that this mishap has happened. So these people, they called warden, and warden came, and somebody had to go and tell Bhagwan. So he went to Mandir in the afternoon time, and he sent word to Swami. Swami called him, he said, A&T, what's happened? And he said, Swami, that boy, he said, yeah, I know. He said, Swami, he fell down. Now see, to tell Swami that somebody's died is not easy. And you can't use these words with Bhagwan. That Swami, somebody has died and all that. So he's trying to camouflage the sentence by saying that Swami, the boy fell. He's and doctors. So he's trying to say, but he's not able to complete the sentence. And Swami kept cutting him down. He said, I know this fellow. Hey, he likes coffee. Give him coffee. He said, no, Swami, doctors are saying, I know doctors are useless. Go and give him coffee. So 3 times he tried to tell Swami that, Swami, the boy is dead. But he could not say the word dead. Before that, Swami will say, I know, go and give coffee. He likes coffee. Now you can't argue. So he came back. He went, took a thermos, filled coffee, came to hospital. Now in the meantime, these doctors have already brought the child out and wrapped up him in a cloth, put him on a stretcher, and the stretcher is lying. They're waiting for the instructions, and the warden comes. They all rushed. So what did Swami say? He said, Swami said he likes coffee. I said, sir, didn't you tell him he's dead? I tried, but he didn't allow me. He said he likes coffee. Give him coffee. He said, but sir, he's dead. I know, but I can't help it. He said, give coffee. I got coffee. So nobody understood what to do now. They said, okay, if Swami has said, then we have to give him coffee, period. So they again unwrapped that fellow. Now imagine a dead body lying in front of you, and he's holding a thermos of coffee in his hand and looking at his face, what to do now? So they said, okay, like you put water, so we'll put coffee. What else can you do? Bhagwan said, give coffee, you give coffee. So he opened the thermos, and at that very moment, they heard a squeak of the car, and Bhagwan had come. He walked in. I wish you can recall how majestically he would walk swiftly. So he was like, Aintra, where is that boy? So these people are all turned towards Swami, right? That there's a wall, next to the wall is a stretcher, people are standing all around him, this side. When Swami came, they all turned, right? Swami said, Aintra, boy, where is boy? And they said, here Swami. And this fellow is sitting on the stretcher, looking at everybody. So he said, huh? So they had nothing to say. And Swami came, did you give coffee to him? He said, no. He's holding the mic. He said, crazy fellow, I told you give coffee. He's waiting. And the boy has got no clue why is he on the stretcher. What happened to him? So they immediately gave him coffee. Swami blessed him. They said, you're gone. And he walked out. Isn't it beautiful? A revival and no drama. It was such a smooth thing that you can't even imagine that he showed us his divinity. He showed us his majesty, his omnipresence, his power. And yet in such a simple manner that it was, sometimes we forget. And it's so easy to overlook it. We were so unfortunate, I feel today, that we overlooked those beautiful occasions because we took it for granted. Can you imagine Swami's creation is defying the science? From nothing he creates everything. Scientists are puzzled till today. How can energy be converted back into matter? Even science today also teaches you different. It can't be reversible. But Swami has been doing that day in and day out. Can you imagine how we took him for granted that nothing mattered? When somebody will clap in the front, you know what our expression? So the back boy will ask the front boy, what happened? The boy will say, nothing, just created a chain. So for us, created a chain, I cured him. So it was like as if it is ordinary, right? Swami is there, he's creating and curing people, big deal about it. But can you imagine? Every event, every darshan, every occasion was an awe-inspiring thing. We took it for granted. There was one boy who had an eye infection. I'm just recalling these stories. Very serious eye infection. It had got infected completely. So you could even see some pus thing coming out of his eyes. So poor fellow was wearing glasses and always cleaning up. So he was sitting at the edge of the portico next to the sand. So you have to recall a little bit. You know the sand days, the lower portico, and the boys are sitting there on the portico and Swami is walking on the sand. You know how beautifully he would walk? He won't even leave a footprint. How many of you have seen that, Bhagwan floating? There are many times he would just pass by and there are no footprints at all on the sand. So he was going and this boy had probably written a letter to Swami about his pain. And Swami came close to him. He looked at him like that. He said, Aintra, what happened? So he kind of removed his glasses and he showed him. And Swami took the letter. And while taking his letter, he caught his finger. You know, and somebody takes the letter like that. While taking the letter, he caught his finger. And you will not believe, physically his strength is amazing. You can't escape his strength. So he held his finger like this and he pressed it hard. And we could see the tussle between Swami and the child. And the boy is saying, Swami, no, Swami, no, Swami. And Swami is smiling and looking at him. And he's just not letting it go. This drama must have lasted for a couple of minutes. And then Swami smiled, released, and walked off. His eyes were cured. What had happened at that time was, when the boy gave the letter to Swami, and Swami caught his finger, this boy noticed, and he realized that he has done a mistake. Because he knows that Swami takes the pain. You know, this realization comes when Swami caught his finger, he saw Swami's eyes turning red. And he saw Swami's having the same features what he was having. Eyes turned red, it started popping out, there was a pus-like thing coming out. So he was saying, sorry Bhagwan, I gave you this pain of mine. You know, so he was trying to pull his finger and saying, stop it. But Swami did not let it go. And in that 2 minutes, he had transferred the pain and the boy was cured. And the boy started crying and he fell at his feet and he said, Swami, I'm so sorry that you had to suffer because of me. Swami says, nothing. There's no suffering. For me, it is 2 minutes pain, but you would have lost your eyesight. So imagine, an eyesight for a life and a 2 minutes of pain on God's body. So, you know, Swami is like that and his power is amazing. Let me lighten the environment by telling you a funny thing. You know, when boys come and take namaskar from Swami, he had a habit. We used to have a lot of naming ceremony for namaskars. We have flying namaskar, we have touch namaskar, we had sleep namaskar. We had no many names to it. Because the way you take namaskar, we used to coin a name. When Swami is walking, you know we can take namaskar while he's walking also. And we won't stop him. We had the perfect art of how our hand should go inside, grab his feet, kiss, and leave. And we can press, kiss, and leave. So we were expert in all the kinds of namaskar. So there are occasions when Swami is standing and saying, class, take quick namaskar and run. And he's very alert that you must take quick because there's a queue standing. And we know that Swami can stop anytime. You know, he can just change his mind and say, enough, and he'll walk out. So we will push the boys. So one such boy went down to take namaskar, and that fellow is not getting up. So everybody is pushing from him, move man, and that fellow is down. And Swami is telling, hey, don't sleep. No sleep namaskar, get up. But he's not getting up. He's down, and everybody is now pushing him from behind because Swami is there, you can't even shout. But there, hey, get up man, get up, yeah, we are losing time. But this fellow is not moving. And Swami also, hey, what happened to you? Hey, what happened to him? Tell him. So everybody is shaking. Come on, man. Swami said, get up. He's not getting up. After a couple of minutes, they got up. He had tears in his eyes, his red nose. He was crying. So boys thought, oh my God, he must be going through something very serious, right? That Swami's Pad Namaskar and he's crying. He must be having some problem. And Swami said, hey, don't cry. Papam. And he went off. He gave Namaskar and went. Then everybody looked at him, some with anger, some with sympathy. He said, what happened, man? Why were you so crying? Why were you so long? You know that we are waiting behind. He said, hey, I was not taking namaskar. When I went down, he caught my nose with his fingers. So, with his thumb and feet, he had caught his nose down there. And he was trying to escape. But Swami's grip was so strong, he could not let his nose. So he was stuck down. He was not taking namaskar. And he said, these tears are not out of my devotion. It is out of pain. I was in extreme pain. He was cutting my nose. And on top, he's telling me, get up. Kya karta hai tum? indiscipline hai, get up fast. And I said, I could not get up, man. So we started laughing about it. The fact was, that is how mischievous he was. Imagine the whole world thinks that Swami is giving namaskar and this boy is crying. And the story's truth is different. He just caught his nose and he kept him there down, that's all. I said, perfect, don't cry, I'm with you. So who will know these secrets? There was another, sorry, my time up. Any questions? These stories will continue. Yes, darling. You want to ask something? Okay. There was one time, Swami was, food is a favorite topic of Bhagwan. He would talk to us. I have told this, but it's fun to hear it again for you all. So there were months when he would discuss food of the hostel. Because in those days, hostel was primarily a South Indian hostel. So imagine the fate of North Indians to eat sambar every day, morning, night, So it is very difficult. The whole day you wake up with sambar and you sleep with sambar is not easy. So idli and sambar going on every day. But over the years, now I love it. I can eat now. But the fact is, those are days. And he would be discussing about these things so much. One evening, the funny thing happened. He was discussing about idli. How many did you eat? So the boy said, Swami, 3. Somebody said 4. He said, what kind of idli he makes? So started discussing. Then he called the chef. He said, how do you make idli? So he's describing the process of idli making. He said, no, your idlis are very hard. And you make such a big idli, you should have the soft idlis. So the discussion on the idli, the color of idli, the size of idli, the softness of idli, went on for almost 45 minutes. Can you imagine? God of the universe, who created this crazy world, as if he's got no other job but to talk about idli with us. For 45 minutes, he was standing and talking idli. Can you imagine? And we are also laughing and discussing. So far, a devotee sitting, looking at us, he gets an impression that, look, what Arjuna was, these boys are all Arjunas. Swami is giving them discourse. 45 minutes of discourse by Bhagwan. How lucky these boys are. Can you imagine? All the Vedanta must be just simply filtered inside their... So much Gyan has come. 45 minutes. So after darshan, when you're going hostel, my face he must have seen. This is a very funny face, nobody forgets it. So he came running, and I was walking with a friend of mine. We were going to hostel. He came, child, Sairam. I said, Sairam, sir. I said, I have a request. I said, sure. If you don't mind. I said, sure, sir. Swami was standing. I saw you were sitting right in front. He gave you discourse for 45 minutes. Can you please share some pearls with us? Some little bit, sir. So we both paused and we said, yeah, sure. But then we thought, what do we tell him? Because there is nothing to tell. Can you imagine if I tell the devotee that he was talking about idli for 45 minutes? Do you think he will believe me? So we thought that, what do I tell him? So we looked at each other. We were both ready to tell, but what do we tell? There's nothing to say. So we told him that, sir, he was inquiring about food. So I'm right? He was inquiring about food, sir. That old man felt so bad. He said, I'm sorry. It must be a private discussion between you and God. I should not have asked you. And he felt bad and went. And we were saying, oh God, how do I tell him? We could not tell people that our Lord was like that. Our Lord was not serious God. He was a fun God. God was fun. He was playful. He didn't teach Vedanta or scholarship by a discourse. He lived it. He made us realize the greatest truths just by playing and singing bhajans with us. In Whitefield, in the old bungalow, their boys would do duty. That's how he used to give chance to boys. So whichever place you are put, you will get a name accordingly. So if somebody is standing at the staircase, he'll be called staircase boy. If somebody is standing at the door, he'll be called door boy. Okay? So kitchen boy, door boy, staircase boy, and those boys who used to handle Swami's cows, they were called cowboys. So like that, the naming ceremony was done. So there were some boys who were in the kitchen boys. They were upstairs with Bhagwan. They used to take care of the kitchen and dining for Bhagwan. So in those days, people, every time, people would send crazy things to Swami. Can you believe people send Swami balls, tennis balls. They'll send you toys, fluffy, the beers, that like huggy beers, as if Swami is going to play with them. But people used to send to Swami all these things. And many times he'll send it to the schools and all that. And many times it will be just left in the room as a storage. So in some time, I believe somebody had sent those cars, the toy cars, where you just put it back and it goes forward. The motorized ones, small little cars. And those days it was a fancy thing, in 80s and all that, everybody did not have access to those things. So those small cars, when you pull it back, it goes forward. So it was an afternoon time, and Bhagwan had retired. He used to go inside his room for rest or whatever you can call it, for almost an hour after the meals. And he will come out for the evening darshan. So he had gone in, boys had cleaned up the dining area and everything, and these two boys had these cars. Because Swami had got it, and he must have given it to these fellows, so they were having. So there were new, those new video games had come out in those days. And, they will make noise, that kee, 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 that noise will come. If you don't play that game, that cat, tee, tee, that kind of noise. So those kind of games were there in those days. Initial. So Swami used to give it to the boys only. But he didn't expect them to play in the mandir. But boys are boys. So after they cleaned up everything, they saw Swami has gone in the room. He was resting in the room, so they had cleaned up. Then these two boys who were dining boys, they thought of playing with a car. So one fellow stood on that side of the table, one fellow on this side of the table. That car is going there, right? So they both are playing car. And they lost track of the time to such an extent that it was darshan time. And Swami came out of his room. And these boys did not realize. And Swami saw them playing. Now he entered the room suddenly. So these boys grabbed their cars and stood side of them. They were alert. Swami said, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Nothing, Swami." That when you're caught red-handed. So nothing, Swami. "Hey, I saw you playing something." Then they had to tell that Swami, "Sorry, Swami, a car has come." Swami, "Car? Ain't a car? How can you have car here in the room?" Said, "Swami, small car, Swami." So he saw the car. "How do you play?" So the boy said, "Swami, it has a motor." "Huh, show me." So he did, and the car went there. I said, "Hey, nice, I will also play." And you won't believe, Swami on one side and the other boy on the other side, and they are playing car. For 10-15 minutes, Swami was playing car with them. Now imagine, outside, under the beautiful glorified sun, devotees are waiting for darshan. Now imagine if somebody asks, "What is Bhagwan doing inside?" How it will be tell, "Swami is playing car." How will you hear that? It is such a beautiful feeling that, look, what our God was, so simple. He was playing car for 10-15 minutes. And there are hundreds of people outside waiting for his glimpse. No idea about it. The fellow who got a video game, he was actually sitting outside, it seems, on a parapet. He had a staircase duty. So he was down, so he didn't see all that. And Swami came to him, he realized the footsteps and he put the toy immediately in his pocket. And he stood like that. But he didn't switch it off. There is no time, right? Immediately he put it inside and he stood like that. Swami said, "Entra, what is there?" "Nothing, Swami." And Swami is still standing there because he's also smart. So he's waiting. And that time got over and that and Swami said, "I know. take it, go inside. So then he had to switch it off. What can you do? There's playfulness. One day Bhagwan had got mangoes to distribute. So there was one boy who used to love mangoes. So everything got over, Swami had distribution done, the mango baskets were kept inside. All that used to go into Swami's rooms in downstairs, because that's how prasadam comes out. So they were stacking it up, and Swami had retired up. He had already gone upstairs to his room. So the boys, more or less we know that 99% he will not come down again. So this boy who loved mangoes, he went into the room and he thought, let me grab one. Now Swami is not there, so he can eat mangoes as much as he wants. So he took one mango, you can suck those mango like that. So here, and he saw friend Swami came out. So immediately his hand went back. Because normally we put hands together, but now he has a mango in his hand. What can he do? So he put his hand behind. So I say, Aintra, what is in that hand? Nothing, Swami. Nothing, Swami. I said, hey, go and eat. Can you imagine? That's how the playfulness of the Lord. But in all that, what remembers is that how you remember God every moment of your life. Today, we all live our lives, but God is always a constant reminder. We know there's nothing without Him. The whole life is meaningless without this Master. And when we have this Master with us, nothing is impossible. How fortunate each one of us are that He has chosen us, handpicked us. He created you the way you are, because that's how He wanted you to be. So be happy about it. If you are fat, you have a family pack like me, that's what He wanted. I'm perfectly imperfect, because that's what He wanted me. Right? We are perfect because we are all His. And that is important. How can we be anything but perfect when we are created by the Master? So be happy. Feel proud. Feel blessed. And always keep Bhagwan in front of us. The best thing to live is to live like Him. He spent all His life for others. And that is exactly what He wants us to do. Be the source of happiness. Don't be happiness only for yourself. Bhagwan says that is selfishness. Animals do that. But you are a human being. It is not enough if you are good. Because being good is the first qualification to be human. So you're not doing anything great by being good for yourself. He says what is more important is that you don't be the cause of bad for others. That we become that shining example for Bhagwan. That anybody who comes in our aura is filled with the divine love. Let us spread this joy by being that joy. We don't have to talk about it. We don't have to take the mic and start screaming about it. But just be that hollow flute of the Lord, and let Him play the music. I think I have only 5 minutes for any questions, not for my talk. So thank you very much. I'm grateful to Bhagwan for this wonderful opportunities to relive those moments. It's always a blessing. And I'm grateful to all of you. And sorry for the inconvenience. It's late. I am sure it's a working day. So all of you have to rush back. So my apologies for the inconvenience. But if you have anything to add, say, ask, you have exactly 2 minutes. Yes. Education conference was like any other conference. Well, the main purpose of conference was to see what is the status of value education of Bhagwan, how to look at it, how to understand it, how to spread it. And that's why they were trying to make a timeline that in next 10 years, where and how they want to promote it. I would say your best example and blessing for Australia is that you have a Sai school here. I think that is one of the biggest blessing this country has. There is a sample Sai school. Of course, can that be improved? Why not? There is always a scope for it, but they are doing an amazing work. And if you have any opportunity to go to that side of the world, I would say you must visit the school. Amazing teachers, very nice. And whatever they have grasped, Swami, they are implementing it so beautifully. There's a lovely integration of the community there, which I was very happy to note. And they are doing really what they can in a very good manner. Now, there is something which they can be added, no doubt about it. And I'm sure this conference will give them that direction a little bit to add to that flavor. But I think it was a good attempt and a very good. I'm grateful that they considered me to join that and share, just because I was doing some work in education. You know, the best part of Bhagwan is that I'm not an educationist, but I'm a salesman, by the way. But, you know, that is what Mukam Karote Vachalam. He knows the best. So for last 15 years now, I'm in education. I'm trying to help and learn. Because I have learned so much by dealing with children. It's amazing. What happens to us in Perthi, we don't know, because it's happened to us. So we take it for granted. We don't appreciate. But now when you are doing it on others, then we suddenly start realizing the effort, that amount of, the effort has gone in to build that structure there, which has benefited us. So now when I see our Sai schools around the world, I really feel blessed. I learn so much from them. Even though the teachers have not seen Bhagwan, and they are so-called non-Sai devotees, but it doesn't matter. They are wonderful people. They have really, really, grasped the essence of education, and they are doing their best. I would really compliment them. Our sister was a pioneer in that field. She has done amazing work. Thank you for bringing me here. She was one of the leaders in that. I'm sure she can summarize it afterwards. Very beautifully done. Any other thoughts, questions? Before you sleep, I will leave you. Already people are yawning, and not good sign. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, everyone. That was such a beautiful talk. Can we just give him a big hand once more? I just want to really thank Swami to start with, and through brother and we've had a series of really wonderful speakers who have really inspired us. So thank you so much for taking us to even a lot of us have not had this opportunity to actually be in Swami's college, but you brought that to us. We've almost felt like we were there with you through this journey. So thank you so much. I just want to also, we've got a small token of thank you, and little Saurav there will. We just thought we'll try and find the cutest kid to melt your heart. And just finally, I just want to, if anyone, I think you're going to be speaking at Epping Center tomorrow, so if anyone wishes to head down that way, that's another opportunity to listen to brother. And also just finally, on Saturday, we are having the Ekadasha Rudra Parayanam, so we're going to be chanting Rudram 11 times. The program starts at 8:50 a.m. and we want to be seated by 8:40 a.m. So that will be at Highvale Primary School. Waverley Center is the venue for that. So if you want to, please participate in that. Thank you, and Sai Ram.
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक परखी महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका पद्मांडवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदैव मरियंतयु नीवे स्वामी मरियंतयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथा नादेन्द्राशयन ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओम साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंद को मंगल आरती अंद को मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साईं बाबा जी की।